The latest from our daily newsletter at podnews.net. Spotify is to add video podcasts, but probably not as you know them. You can only upload them via Anchor. There's a waitlist to join, and you can only watch the videos in Spotify. None of the video files are visible in RSS feeds, so other podcast apps that deal with video won't be able to show them. Podchaser has added community leaderboards, badges and other gamification tools to encourage more ratings and reviews within the service. Nieman Lab has highlighted a way that Vox Media has added an immersive transcript to help a podcast be accessible to those that are deaf and hard of hearing. There's a new podcast studio in Glasgow in Scotland. Sparkling Studios is in the Glasgow Collective in East Campbell Street, and it's housed in a converted shipping container with 5 layers of insulation for noise, not for temperature. And the people behind long-running storytelling podcast The Moth have announced a new book, How to Tell a Story, the essential guide to memorable storytelling from The Moth. It shares secrets of the director's process to tell a story like no other. It's out in April 2022. And in podcast news, Believe Her is new from Lemonada Media, presented as True Crime Upside Down. It highlights the effects of domestic and sexual abuse, trauma, and the American criminal justice system. It's Lemonada Media's first true crime title. CNN Chief International Correspondent Clarissa Ward has launched Tug of War, a podcast traveling to some of the most volatile corners of the world to document the greatest power struggles of our time. And if you love organising your home, then you'll love Home Hacks. It's a new podcast from Nova Podcasts, and it'll probably lead to a fridge looking like, well, we linked to that today from our show notes and our newsletter. Everything's labelled. Moment of Pod Zen up in a sec, but that's the latest from our newsletter. For all the links, we're at podnews.net.
For Pod News, I'm Evo Terra with your Minute of Pod Zen. Far too many podcasters cede control of the narrative of their episodes to their subject. Here's how to take that power back, make better episodes, and wind up with even more content to share. Lots of podcasters struggle with content creation, especially as deadlines approach. When an episode has to get published, less than strategic approaches show themselves in an interview that feels forced, or an angle on a topic that seems out of place and quite different in a not good way to the audience. At the root of these problems of bad fit lies the same cause. The podcaster allowed the subject of the episode to dictate the narrative of the episode. But you can do better than that. A podcaster's superpower over other media formats is this. Once you know deeply what your audience wants, you can shape almost any subject into a narrative that your audience wants to hear. Done right, those crappy, unresearched guest pitches turn into a content fountain. All you have to do is figure out which stories you can pull out of guests that your audience wants to hear. You do this by controlling the narrative. Don't just turn the mic over to your guest and let them run the show. That's your job. This same approach goes well beyond sorting through unsolicited guest pitches. Because you know your audience and are in charge of the narrative of your episodes, you can build an episode out of almost every trending topic. Content ideas galore. You're the podcaster. You're in control of the narrative. You're in control of your listeners' experiences. Never forget that. You'll find more thoughts on this topic and other questions every working podcaster should be asking themselves at podcastpontifications.com. I'm Evo Terra. This has been your Minute of Pod Zen.